Is this thing on? Yeah, we in action.
All right, so boom. What if I told you that you could own real estate with $100? Now, if you're already thinking what's the catch, then that's the exact reason why it won't happen for you. Now, if you're willing and able to muster three things: knowledge, courage, and discipline, you can find success in this and really probably any endeavor that you look into. So let me show you how I did that. I have a mentor who says, if I can do it, you can do it too. And best believe I did. So when we talk about knowledge, the first aspect of knowledge that we need to cover is the knowledge of yourself. What do you want? Are you looking for a sense of ownership? Are you looking for a sense of stewardship? Are you looking for returns? Are you looking to flex? Are you looking to just have something that you're responsible for in this world? Right? And what is your why? This is the thing that's going to carry you through as you move your way through paths and environments that you've never seen before. You need to at least know yourself, know the vehicle, know the vessel that you're transporting yourself with if you want to have a hope of being successful in this, right? Now, to get a little bit more specific to the real estate side of things, you gotta know your numbers. How much do you need to do what you want to do in real estate? I'm here to tell you, it might be a little bit less than you think. How much do you have? How much can you obtain? Whether that's a job, friends, family, loans, whatever the case may be, you gotta know how much motion you actually have in your vicinity. And of course, like I said, you gotta know who's on your team. That could be financial experts, that could be real estate experts, that could be just people that you chop it up with as you network and you find a way to build whatever your dream or desire may be. Again, this is real estate or outside of that, right? But then you've got to show up, right? You have to execute. You have to look at properties. You have to understand the sequence of events that leads you to your successful outcome. And when you find something that fits the description of what you know yourself needs, you must execute. So again, when we talk about knowledge, there's these three pillars: knowledge of yourself, knowledge of the numbers, and the knowledge of your environment, the people, places, and things that surround you. We talked a little bit about courage, the courage to show up, the courage to speak, the courage to execute, right? You take that framework, that's all you need. We don't know exactly what the destination looks like, but I don't need to be the first person to tell you it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Do you have the courage once you have the knowledge to make that happen? And the last aspect of it is really discipline, right? Discipline in a positive sense and discipline in a negative sense. Discipline in, do you have the habits in place to get to where you want to be? But also in terms of restraint, do you have the ability to erect and enforce guide rails on your own reality to contain that which you desire to have within it and to exclude that which has no place or service for you in your journey? Let me tell you, when you got those three things, when you got knowledge, courage, and discipline, there's no guessing, right? This becomes a matter of certainty, a matter of inevitability. The time frame, patience is a virtue. But if you can set yourself up on some solid pillars, give yourself a real foundation for day in, day out, month after month, year after year, hopefully decade after decade. And the way things are moving, it might be century after century for some of us. But that's really going to get you to the point where you can do the kind of thing like what I'm about to describe to you now. So here's a story. A couple years ago, I showed up at a real estate auction, primarily hoping to just learn and understand how do real estate auctions work. And I know that it's an opportunity to show up and get a good deal, right? And so I'm sitting in this auction, properties are going by, it's a bunch of contractors that are in this space that are wanting to do renovations themselves so they can bid pretty high on their purchase price because they're doing the repairs themselves. But suddenly a piece of land pops up. Right? Now, I know that a piece of land, most any piece of land, is probably worth more than a night out, worth more than a nice dinner, right? So when I see that the opening bid on this property is $100, I'm like, well, that seems like a no-brainer. I could bid $100, right? That was me processing through my knowledge. That was me having the courage to take that step. And also the discipline to have been there, to have shown up, to have run numbers and understand what properties are actually worth on the basis of looking at them. With the data that I've been provided, what insights can I extract so that I can act on it, right? So I placed that bid for $100, and then lo and behold, nobody took action after. Nobody bid, and next thing I was hearing sold to paddle 44, and there I was, a property owner. It was about $100, a few fees and taxes over the time that I owned it. But let me tell you, it's probably less than $1,000 all in, and all of a sudden I'm a property owner. So that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. Please do not look at your goal and apply qualifications to it that seem out of reach and difficult and impossible, that aren't even real. How will you know whether those constraints are real? Knowledge, courage, discipline. That's all you need. So once I had the property, what did I really want to do with it? Honestly, just enjoy it. Enjoy nature. Enjoy the opportunity to learn more about this great world that we live in. And as far as I'm concerned, I learned so much just by watching the plants that were in that place, right? Things like goldenrod, chicory root, wild carrots. You ever realize that they're just carrots growing in the ground left and right? No, they don't look like what you find in the grocery store, but to me it's mind-blowing that these things are just out here available for us, and you can have access and a degree of control over a piece of that resource for a far lower investment than you may even be aware. As things progressed, I began to spend less time in the area where that property was located, and so I started to look into disposing of it. And the simplest path forward was just to look at the neighbors, look at who's in the area, might want to add this piece of property onto what they already have. One of those neighbors was a golf course. Golf course is a part of a casino. Casino is run by an Indian nation, and that's what they call themselves. They call themselves an Indian nation, which is a whole other side. So I reach out to them, find a way to get in contact, and let them know, like, hey, y'all want this piece of land back? They said yes. They offered me a very fair market price, substantially beyond what I had put into the property. And so next thing, I was there in that win-win scenario, having learned about real estate, having gotten to enjoy time in nature, having gotten to contribute to some aspect of restorative justice in bringing that property back under the auspices of the indigenous people of that area. And also I learned a lot. That tribe has been working to get their land back in the Supreme Court for a long time. Unfortunately right now, just because they purchased something doesn't mean that it's officially part of their territories. But I hope one day that ends up getting overturned. I think that would be a massive win for the concept of sovereignty of those indigenous peoples, but also the sovereignty of any individual who comes upon a piece of land as a steward. That's just my tip. We'll see where it goes. So this colonial mindset, this haves and have-nots, this fake smokescreen of things being difficult to acquire or to achieve is oftentimes an illusion. So I would implore you to consider looking at your values, looking at whatever it is you have going on in life. Maybe take some of these tools that I've used for myself that could be applicable for your journey as well in real estate and beyond. Knowledge, courage, discipline, be great.